What if I told you that right now you are already the future self someone once dreamed of becoming? We often hear about becoming our future selves, wealthier, healthier, wiser, more awakened. We look ahead, imagining a version of us that has it all figured out. But here's the twist. While you've been chasing that future, you've also been living as someone's dream come true. That someone is a past version of you. Think about it. The job you hold today, the love you've experienced, the healing you've gone through. There was once a version of you who longed for exactly this. Even the small things we overlook, like having a safe place to sleep or the ability to choose your own path, were once a prayer whispered by a younger you. But because we forget this mirror in time, we keep running forward, always longing, rarely pausing. This is the forgotten truth about time. It doesn't just flow forward. It folds, reflects, and connects. And when you see that, your relationship with yourself transforms completely. If time is not a straight line, then what is it? Science offers a surprising doorway into this mystery. In quantum physics, researchers discovered that reality is not as fixed as it appears. Instead of one solid path, every moment holds multiple possibilities waiting to unfold. Think of it like this. Every time you make a choice, whether it is as small as what to eat for lunch or as big as moving to another city, the universe doesn't simply delete the paths you did not take. According to the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, each possibility continues on as its own version of reality. That means somewhere, in another timeline, another you exists living out the option you didn't choose. This idea sounds like science fiction, but it comes directly from attempts to explain how particles behave on the smallest scales. Physicists noticed that particles do not exist in one state until observed. Instead, they hover in what is called superposition, a cloud of probabilities. Once observed, the cloud collapses into one outcome. But here is the strange part. The other outcomes don't necessarily vanish. They unfold in their own streams of reality. This is where the idea of parallel selves comes in. If particles, the building blocks of everything, behave in this way, then why would humans, who are made of those same particles, be excluded from this structure? The logic suggests that there are countless versions of you across the fabric of time, each walking down a slightly different path. Another key discovery in physics, called time symmetry, deepens this mystery. The laws of physics work the same whether you move forward or backward in time. This challenges our everyday sense of time as a one-way arrow. Experiments like John Wheeler's delayed choice even show that decisions made in the present can influence how particles behaved in the past. This flips our usual story about cause and effect. Time doesn't just push us forward, it bends, responds, and reflects. For our daily lives, this means something profound. You're not a single, fixed self marching through time. You are part of a much bigger field of versions, connected across timelines. Every dream, every possibility is not just an idea in your head, but a real potential waiting for observation. From a spiritual perspective, this gives a deeper foundation to what many traditions have always hinted at. You are multidimensional. Ancient mystics spoke of higher selves and simultaneous existences. Modern science, in its own language, is pointing toward the same truth. We are not bound by a single storyline. When you start to see yourself this way, the pressure to constantly arrive softens. The future self you long for is not out of reach. It already exists as one of your parallel versions. The real shift happens when you begin to connect with that truth, that you are more than the path you see in front of you. When we talk about self-growth or spirituality, one idea shows up everywhere: the future self. This is the vision of you who is healthier, wiser, financially stable, or spiritually awakened. Books, teachings, and practices often encourage us to picture this version of ourselves and then try to align with it. There is a reason this narrative feels so powerful. On some level, we already sense that more than one version of us exists. Quantum physics points to multiple timelines branching out from every decision, and spiritual traditions speak of higher planes of existence. So, when you are told to visualize a future self, it resonates because deep down you recognize that this version is not just fantasy. It is a possibility that already exists in the field of reality. The popular teaching goes like this: if you want to change your life, become your future self. That could mean meditating as if you are already enlightened, eating as if you are already healthy, or behaving as if you already have abundance. This practice is often called living in alignment. In many cases, it works because the brain cannot always tell the difference between what you vividly imagine and what you physically experience. Neuroscience shows that mental rehearsal strengthens the same neural pathways as real action. So by acting like your future self, you prime your body and mind to embody that reality. Here is where the story feels incomplete. We often look only one way: forward. The cultural obsession with always reaching ahead creates a subtle imbalance. We keep stretching toward the horizon, imagining a better self, while forgetting to acknowledge the ground beneath our feet. The risk is that this constant forward gaze can turn into endless striving. You start to live in a state of waiting, where your life feels like it is always on the edge of becoming, but never quite enough. This is where science and spirituality meet again. In physics, timelines are not stacked in a single direction. Possibilities expand outward, not just forward. Spiritually, wisdom traditions remind us that wholeness is not something you eventually catch. It is something you recognize in every moment. When we only focus on a future self, we reduce the infinite nature of our being into a single finish line. Think of how often people say, "One day when I achieve this, then I will feel fulfilled." It might be a dream house, a spiritual breakthrough, or the perfect relationship. That thought itself creates distance. Instead of living in the fullness of the present, you train your mind to believe that happiness is always somewhere else. There is nothing wrong with having visions and goals. In fact, imagining a future self is part of how we direct energy and focus. But the deeper truth is that your future self is not a destination waiting in the distance. It is part of a web of selves existing alongside you, each influencing the other. By only looking forward, you cut yourself off from the richness of this connection. The story of the future self is inspiring, but it is only half the picture. To complete it, we need to turn our gaze in another direction, toward the past, because just as you look ahead to a more awakened version of yourself, there are past versions of you who once looked ahead and saw the person you are right now. This is not just a sentimental reflection, it is also supported by the science of timelines. In quantum physics, every possibility branches into existence. When one path becomes real for you, that version of you becomes the future self of the one who stood at the crossroads. The you who doubted, the you who was uncertain, the you who wondered if things would ever change, all of those earlier selves are still connected to you. They exist like echoes across the structure of time. In spiritual traditions, this idea shows up as well. Many teachings describe life as a web where every moment holds every other moment inside it. If time is not linear, then the version of you who was a child still exists in some form, just as the version of you who is yet to be is already present in potential. From this perspective, you are not just striving to become. You are also fulfilling what once seemed impossible to another you. Think about the younger you who only wanted to feel safe, or the teenager who longed to be seen, or the adult who prayed for healing. You are standing as the evidence that their hope was not wasted. This is the overlooked symmetry of time. You do not only stretch forward, you also radiate backward. This recognition changes the way you relate to yourself. Instead of thinking of progress only as something ahead, you begin to see progress as something you are already embodying. Each achievement, each healing, each step forward is also a gift to the earlier versions of you that could not yet see the way. There is another layer to this symmetry. Just as your present self fulfills the dreams of a past you, your choices ripple outward to parallel selves as well. Every time you heal, every time you shift perspective, that transformation doesn't only affect the single line you are walking. It resonates across the field of versions, influencing how those parallel selves evolve. In a sense, you are never healing alone. Your progress integrates across the larger network of yous. When you begin to honor this, life takes on a different flavor. You no longer rush forward with the constant pressure to catch a better self. Instead, you see yourself as part of an unfolding loop, already living as a future self, already proof of transformation. This balance between past and future creates compassion and steadiness. Pause for a moment and think about this. Someone you once were prayed for the life you have now. That version of you may have been scared, confused, or uncertain, but they carried hope. They dreamed of reaching a place where you are standing today. This compassion is powerful because it rewrites the way you experience time. Instead of living in constant anticipation, you begin to honor what has already unfolded. Your journey becomes less about chasing and more about integrating. You are not abandoning your past selves. You are bringing them along, healing them through acknowledgement. Spiritual traditions often speak of inner child healing, but this goes beyond psychology. It is about recognizing that the past is not gone. It lives within you. When you show kindness to those earlier versions, you collapse distance. You make peace with the echoes of yourself that still wait for recognition. Compassion for past you is not sentimental. It is an act of alignment. Because the moment you embrace those parts, you strengthen the bridge between who you were, who you are, and who you are becoming. Gratitude is often spoken of as a spiritual practice, something we use to cultivate positivity. But when viewed through the lens of time and parallel selves, gratitude becomes much more than a nice habit. From a scientific perspective, gratitude has measurable effects on the brain. Neuroscience shows that when you focus on what you already have, your brain strengthens neural pathways that reinforce feelings of sufficiency rather than lack. This shift in perception changes how you see not only your present, but also your possibilities. Your brain begins to recognize abundance as part of your reality instead of something that always exists in the distance. This matters because of how the mind processes time. Studies show that gratitude can alter how the brain perceives past, present, and future experiences. When you consciously honor the dreams your past self once held, your brain collapses the sense of distance between longing and fulfillment. In other words, gratitude does not just help you feel good in the moment. It rewires how your sense of time is experienced. On a spiritual level, this bridges directly into the idea of parallel selves. Every version of you across time carries hopes and fears. When you pause to give thanks for something in your present life, you are not just expressing appreciation. You are sending a signal across the web of your own timeline. Gratitude becomes an act of integration. It tells the past you what you longed for came to be, while also preparing the present you to align with even greater possibilities. Think of it like a loop. Your past self dreamed of where you are now, and your future self is already living outcomes you have not yet touched. Gratitude stabilizes the flow of energy between these points. Without gratitude, time can feel fragmented. You keep chasing, always stretching forward, without ever realizing that parts of the loop have already closed. With gratitude, the loop completes itself. You no longer feel like you are standing outside your own life, waiting to enter. You realize you are inside it, living it. This loop effect has real consequences. In physics, feedback systems create stability when signals circulate back into the source. Gratitude works the same way for consciousness. It takes the energy of longing and folds it back into fulfillment, reinforcing the truth that you are already inhabiting the dreams of a former you. This feedback strengthens your sense of wholeness, which in turn influences the choices you make. The beauty of this is that gratitude does not need to be grand. It can begin with something as simple as acknowledging a moment of safety, a meal on your table, or the ability to breathe freely. Each act of recognition sends a message through your timeline, aligning the present with the prayers of the past. When gratitude becomes a consistent practice, it reshapes how you walk through life. You are no longer pulled only by the weight of a distant future. You are grounded by the realization that you have already become someone's answered prayer. Gratitude transforms time from a race into a circle. In this sense, gratitude is not passive at all. It is a form of quantum participation, a way of collapsing the illusion of distance between yourselves. It reminds you that you are not merely reaching for possibilities. You are embodying them, right here, right now. If gratitude is the bridge, then living as the proof is what allows you to walk across it. The question becomes, how do you embody the truth that you are already a future self, not just in theory, but in daily life? The first step is simple acknowledgement. Every day, choose one thing that a past version of you longed for and recognize it fully. Maybe it is the stability you now have, the knowledge you carry, or the growth you fought for. Say to yourself, I am your future. You made it. That short phrase is powerful because it validates the journey. It honors the versions of you who doubted but kept going. This practice does more than create a nice feeling. Psychology shows that affirmations grounded in truth carry more weight than abstract mantras. When you speak directly to your past self through acknowledgement, you're not repeating empty words. You're naming a fact that bridges timelines. The effect is a deeper sense of embodiment. From a scientific view, this practice taps into the brain's ability to rewire itself. Neuroplasticity shows that repeated thoughts and actions create lasting changes in brain pathways. By consistently affirming that you are already proof of transformation, you reinforce the pathways that connect identity with fulfillment rather than longing. Over time, this reduces the gap you feel between who you are and who you want to be. Spiritually, living as the proof is about resonance. Many mystical traditions speak of vibration or frequency. When you embody the truth that you're already the evidence of change, your energy shifts. You stop radiating lack and start radiating sufficiency. This does not mean you stop dreaming of more. It means you stop approaching those dreams from a place of emptiness. You dream from wholeness. Living as the proof also ripples outward. When others see you acknowledging your own growth and embodying gratitude, it becomes a form of teaching without words. You remind people that transformation is real. In this sense, you are not only proof to yourself, but proof to the collective. To make this tangible, create a simple practice. Each morning or evening, write down one thing that would feel miraculous to a younger you. Then, instead of rushing to the next desire, pause. Breathe it in. Say, "This is real. I am living it." These small acts of recognition accumulate. Over time, they create a solid foundation of proof that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. The beauty of this practice is that it collapses time in both directions. You speak to your past self, you ground your present self, and you prepare the soil for your future self to blossom. You are no longer caught in the endless chase for a better tomorrow. You stand in the awareness that you are already someone's miracle today. So much of life is spent chasing what seems out of reach, but pause for a moment and see the symmetry. You are proof that what feels impossible is never fixed. You are living evidence that transformation is real. This is not just about imagining a brighter tomorrow. It is about recognizing that you already hold pieces of that tomorrow today. Gratitude and compassion are not passive practices. They are acts of integration. Each time you thank the past you for surviving, for hoping, for trying, you stitch together the fragments of your timeline. Each time you acknowledge a dream that became real, you close the distance between longing and fulfillment. This is how time folds in on itself. This is how wholeness is revealed. Science calls it quantum potential. Mystics call it multidimensional being. Different languages, same truth. You are not a single, linear self. You are a constellation of selves woven together across time. By embodying gratitude, by living as proof, you activate the feedback loop that connects them all. So let this be your practice. Each day, name one thing that a past you would celebrate if they could see it now. Say it out loud, feel it, anchor it. In that moment, you are collapsing time, bringing your past, present, and future selves into harmony. What you seek is not a fantasy. You are already the embodiment of what was once sought. Carry that awareness with you, and your path forward will no longer feel like a desperate chase. It will feel like unfolding into a story that is already written in your being. You're not just on the journey. You are the journey. You are the proof. So I leave you with a reflection. What part of your life today would feel like a dream come true to your past self? Share it below. Your answer might be the reminder someone else is waiting for.